Frank. What's the weirdest thing you've ever saw in here?
Let me ask you a question, kid. Did you see that movie, Night of the Living Dead?
Hey, we gonna party tonight or what?
Yeah, we are gonna party.
Well, where are we gonna party?
I don't know, somewhere.
Hey, we could go to the park.
Oh, no, we can't. The cops said they'd shoot us if we go back to the park.
Yeah, and I ain't in no mood to go tonight.
I like death.
Greetings, ghouls, and welcome to Minute 85 of Do You Want to Party, the Movies by Minute podcast for the 1985 groundbreaking horror classic, The Return of the Living Dead. I am your host, Troy, and joining me is my future co-host,
Candice Lepage.
Hello, Candice Lepage. How are you doing?
Which
is
a
silly question. Which is a silly question because of the conversation we had before recording, but obviously the listeners aren't privy to this.
I am struggling with. Is this my first migraine of the year? I think so. Yes, because it told me that I had been migraine free for 11 days. So I guess I guess my first one must have been then on like the first. So maybe it's my second migraine of the year, but it's fine. It's not the worst migraine I've ever had. It is the worst one I've had this year. Whatever.
Okay, there you go. Well, I appreciate you gutting through this, and we'll get through this episode as swiftly as we possibly can. All right, so this particular minute is going to start off with Glover takes a seat and ends with picking up the receiver. Within the red everything room of the of Colonel Glover's den/office,
a lot of velour.
Velvet?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, were you around for those particular minutes at the very beginning of the movie?
Yes, yeah, because that was how the movie opened after we got the Dan O'Bannon, and then start right there at the cliffside.
That's right. Because this is a found location. All three rooms, besides the bedroom. The bedroom turns out to be a set that they have with the rest of the sets and all that sort of thing. But the foyer, dining room, and this office/den all belong to the exact same property that they rented out to be the Glover's home and all that sort of thing. And
I bet if last week's episode had come out before you and I are recording today, I would know this.
Exactly, yeah. But as it turns out, like they didn't have to do anything to this particular like any of the rooms, like they did not dress them anymore. They just brought in, like they use the plates that belong to the household in the dining room scene, and the only thing is the well, we get into it a little there, but the cabinet that Glover sits in front of is the only thing that they added to the scene, as it's obviously not a natural thing for this environment.
The tech armoire.
Exactly. So the Colonel is hunched slightly forward as he examines the printout being spewed out by the dot matrix printer on the desktop within the newly opened cabinet. That was concealed the work control center for the Colonel's home life. A large bank of lights and dials on a metal plate set to the top shelf of this converted desk. Below is a set of glass-covered computer drives that flank either side of the monitor in the middle. Along with the printer, we see a keyboard and an assortment of communication devices that are set into the desktop itself. As he continues to read the print-off, something catches his attention, and he now slides himself onto the chair and brings himself closer to the work. While still looking at
the screen is a map of the United States with a big dot on it.
It is of the I guess what you can say is the continental United States, because
yes, there is no Alaska or Hawaii or Puerto Rico, which much to some Americans' chagrin,
Puerto Rico is
also
not on there as well. That is correct. Yeah. While still looking at the words, he reaches for a communication-like device with a thick, curly cord and brings the phone-like receiver to his head and glances at the inset number keypad, and he begins to punch a series of buttons.
Exactly the size of car phones from the late 80s and
It's
early
it's pretty
90s.
close. It's pretty close and all that sort of thing. I believe
Actually, it feels a
last
little chunkier, a little more square than
yeah,
rectangular,
yeah.
but yeah.
Well, you would be a person to ask. You know what? We'll get to my question after the description, all that sort of thing. It's
Okay.
something that came up in the last episode that has yet to have been answered. So we'll see if you have an answer for us.
Okay. I'll make
Okay.
one up either way.
Okay. For a moment, he then answers an unheard voice with a greeting.
Sir, this is Colonel Glover.
He then apologizes for the lateness of the call, with an addition of the severity of the situation.
I'm sorry to disturb you at this hour, sir, but we're at Q2 status.
He continues to inform about the discovery of the misplaced cargo,
It looks like we've found that lost consignment of Easter eggs.
as the printer begins relaying new information. Horace's gaze falls towards the printer. After a second, he reassures the voice on the call,
Yes, sir, pretty sure.
then points out their location and the source.
They've turned up in Louisville. I'm getting confirmations on this from the Louisville Police Department.
After another pause, the colonel gives a more accurate, detailed location.
Louisville, Kentucky, sir.
He stops to listen to the person he's reaching out to, only to put across his disappointment of the condition of the previously misplaced cargo.
Well, sir, it would be good news, except that the eggs have hatched.
Meanwhile, in the basement of the Unita Medical Supply Warehouse, owner Bert, still in holding the receiver of the phone to his face. Behind him, the three youths of Spider, Casey, and Chuck continue to stare at the older man as they await to gain more insight into the situation. Frustrated with the time it's taking, Spider expresses a concern of the lack of information.
What are they doing, man?
Bert quickly excuses himself to the person on the other line of his call.
Hang on a second, would you? Yeah.
Pulling down the receiver, he relays in a slightly confused tone the process that is going on into motion from the predicament that they find themselves in.
Oh, it's weird. These people seem to say they've been waiting for this to happen. Apparently they got some sort of contingency plan to deal with it.
An overly enthusiastic Casey expresses her jubilance of the change.
Well, that's great.
But the ever-cautious Spider speaks his mind.
What is this plan?
And as a hand grabs for a white receiver of yet another phone, that is where we end our minute.
Yeah. So I have a few notes.
Okay, excellent, good.
So I love that it's described as Easter eggs.
Mm-hmm. Easter eggs, yes.
Because Jesus returned from the dead at Easter.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's very clever. Very clever. I was like, yep, that's exactly right. But also, I think it's really telling that Spider is the one who goes, what are these plans? Because as a black man, and probably a, poor kid who always got like looked down on, he understands what a contingency plan means and what like contingency plans usually mean collateral. And
Yes.
he is always going to be collateral in everything. Not only that, contingent, the actual definition, well, there's many definitions of the word contingent because it means a few different things, but one of them is contingent meaning existing only if certain circumstances are the case, i.e., dependent on.
Yeah, no, understandable. Yeah.
And
No,
like,
that makes-
I'm pretty sure that every contingency plan that has ever been created screwed the black people. Pretty sure every single one.
Right, yeah, no.
I'm like, yes, Spider
There is no
is
doubt of that, yes.
very smart to go, no.
Yeah, exactly,
no.
yeah.
The
What
contingency
kind of
plan
Yeah,
does
exactly,
not mean save.
Yeah,
And
the
Casey,
way,
of course, has
and
no
you
idea.
can- yeah, and you can tell by the way that Miguel Nunez delivers the line. You totally
Yeah.
know there's more behind it than more than likely what Dan O'Bannon has written on the page.
Yeah, and then
without a doubt.
just slightly moving forward into the next minute.
Yes.
I don't know if it was planned, but I think it's also very telling that it's a black man who receives the actual
Yep.
order and does the thing. And it's like, who knows? Who knows why we have a black man doing this? Is this to make it like less about race? Or does it actually just make it more about race? Or was it
Wow.
completely, because that's the thing, right? It's like, oh, but it's actually a black man who ultimately does the deed. So it's not that, a bunch of like white people in power have decided that the black kid and the punk kids don't deserve to live.
Right.
I also doubt that anybody making the movie really
Was
thought
thinking that
that
dimensionally
much
into the, yeah,
about
exactly. Yeah.
who would play, like
Yeah.
what race the person who played the guy who actually, I mean, I think it's just basically like he's a grunt and that,
Oh, for sure. For
like
sure. He's yeah.
he's not an officer and that's why
And he's a kid
he's,
too. He's not
yeah,
very old either.
no,
Again, peeking a little bit into the
yeah.
X-Men and all that sort of thing. Yes, that is a very
Sorry to
young
get ahead,
officer that
but
is. No, no,
you
no.
know,
It makes total sense talking about the situation that we are ending in and going into, which is sometimes the problem with dealing with this movie by minute sort of thing. When you
yeah,
cut off the minute, that's where you stop talking
yeah.
about it. But again, from a movie that is so well watched by, obviously, if people are 85 minutes into this show, they definitely have seen the movie before. I mean, you'd be dumb to listen to a podcast of this length of
Yeah.
a movie you've never
And be
have
watching
seen
1 minute
before.
at a
Exactly.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
I also
exactly.
find it interesting because last time I was here was
Hmm.
right when they got to the phone to
Yep.
make the call, and like technically they called the police on the ground first,
Yes.
but it's like the second they got to that phone, the countdown started. It's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. And yeah, especially just when you look on the little running clock on your movie player when you're at this point
yeah,
in the movie and like, oh, there's only like 5 minutes left, and like two and a half of those are the closing credits and all that sort of thing. We're in like the end. We're literally in the end game of this movie.
hmm
So I wanted to talk to you about what we tried to figure out last week is the actual communication prop, and we're talking the actual device that seems to be sunk into the actual desktop. That whole entire rectangular square thing with the keypad and
hmm
has that little circle dial and a couple of buttons and that receiver on the cord. Myself and my guest host from last week, Dan, we had figured it was some sort of like either sci-fi or naval sort of thing that probably was a prop that actually sat on a wall.
yeah,
And we both had recognized the shape of the communicator, but could not place it and all that sort of thing.
yeah. It feels a lot like a sat phone. Um, but
Okay,
one
okay.
but one that's not like a mobile sat phone.
Right,
When people
yes,
are
yeah.
out camping, they have a sat phone
Mhm.
with them. But this feels like a sat phone. I would agree. Yeah, like a naval one where it is actually on on the wall.
Yeah. But the way it's set up, it actually looks like it could probably be a prop from some sort of like, and again, we're talking in the mid 80s, props get moved around and all that sort of thing. Like one of the
Do I have to
biggest.
rewatch Dark Star just to see if I can find this stupid
Oh my God, I didn't
phone?
even think of that. I don't think I would put you through that, but I just might myself dive into it
I
just to be
mean,
on the safe side. That would be hilarious. Or
Dark
maybe,
Star is not a bad movie. It's just
no,
it
no, no,
doesn't
no.
achieve what I think it was trying to achieve.
Oh no, for sure, for sure, for sure, yeah. And I'm trying to think, okay, so what other movie could he have pulled it from? But again, you're also
Alien
talking
could be
about,
from
yeah,
Alien.
exactly. But you're also talking about, like, for example, the PKE meters from Ghostbusters.
Hmm
After that movie was shot, they were reused as communicators from They Live, the Roddy Piper
Mm,
movie, and all that sort of thing. So it's the exact same prop, just used for two different purposes and whatnot. But yeah, so stuff like that gets moved around. If you watch any of the Star Trek series, you can definitely see one prop being used throughout original Trek, Next Generation, way into like Voyager and all that sort of thing. I won't include the newer stuff because that really has their own sort of stuff. But when you work in an industry that has a giant prop sharing
mhm.
development near them, you're basically going to be pulling stuff from other movies that are like, hey, this used to be this in this movie. Well, now it's this in our movie. So,
Yeah. Well, I
so
mean,
yeah,
this is essentially how the Wilhelm scream became used in every single
in every
movie,
single,
right?
yes,
Because it was
exactly,
sort of
exactly.
like it was it was from a sound library and a couple of people used it here and there. And then it started to be used a little bit more, and now it's almost used in every single movie. People like, oh, we have to put a Wilhelm scream in here. It's like,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's like trying
Yeah.
to shave your beard during the playoffs. You just don't do it. You also don't make a movie without the Wilhelm scream in it.
That's true. That's true. All right. So over on the commentary track, where we have writer and director Dan O'Bannon and the production designer William Stout, we have William Stout talks about the speed of which the desk/communicator center was actually put together, stating that just before filming, the curly cord of the phone had just been hot glued into place. And as it was being used, it started to come loose. In the opposing shot from inside the cabinet, they had to cover up in post-production, where the foreground element was not originally there. Dan O'Bannon points out that the heat of being inside that house, where William Stout adds how that being the reason for the glue not setting. In the basement, it's pointed out that everyone has a weapon except Clue.
Well, he's got the phone, which is the ultimate weapon that destroys them all.
Yeah, and also he had put down the baseball bat after taking off Tarman's head because he had left his trusty lead pipe in the car after it crashed outside the employee entrance door of the warehouse. So so I'd like to say that I'm not 100% sure if I think that William Stout is recalling the actual events, because when back in the mid 1980s did they have glue guns? I mean, I can see maybe setting up an epoxy sort of thing and all that. You really think a glue gun would have been something way back then?
I think so. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like, I used to do crafts with my mom in the early 80s before she went back to work. So she went back to work when my brother was 5. My brother was born in 1980. So that means sometime between like 81 and 83, my mom and I were doing crafts together. And she was also like building her own. She's building like a little dollhouse and all that. And she absolutely had some way of fixing things with hot glue. So.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I just never thought.
I mean, it might not have been like exactly the same thing, because right now they're like very.
Yeah, you can buy them
sleek.
from the dollar store sort of thing and all that. Yeah. No, I'm thinking, more than likely it's some sort of giant honking sort of like drill-esque looking thing that okay. So I mean I didn't think of it that way, but I guess glue guns have been around for a lot longer than I had given it question to begin with.
I mean, we certainly had like glue sticks back then, so why wouldn't we have glue guns? It's the same sort of thing, only apply heat.
All right, so that being said, we're going to go to According to the Script, where we're going to deal with the story and screenplay by Dan O'Bannon. We're dealing with a revision from 1983, and this is based on a story and screenplay by John Russo, Rudy Rickey, and Russell Steiner. Interior, Colonel's study, night. The Colonel goes to his communications equipment and punches a single red button. Picking up the phone, he puts it to his ear. He waits, glances at the clock, and as some teletype copying comes out of a slot. Someone picks up at the other end. Colonel, into phone. Sir, this is Colonel Glover. Sorry to disturb you at this hour, sir, but we have a C2 status. It looks like we found that lost consignment of Easter eggs. Tears the hard copy teletype as he talks. Yes, sir. Pretty sure. They turned up in Louisville. I'm getting confirmation from the Louisville Police Department. Colonel continued. Louisville, Kentucky, sir? He listens. Well, it would be good news, sir, except that the eggs have hatched. He pauses. Yes, sir. I'm afraid so, sir. It looks like our worst-case scenario. Cut to the interior. Basement, night, no rain, dripping. Bert is still on the phone. Meet Chuck and Casey. Listen with enthused intensity. Meet. Listen, what's happening on the other end of that line? Bert into phone. Just a second. To the others. These people seem to say they've been waiting for this to happen. Apparently, they've got a contingency plan to deal with it. A palatable wave of relief runs over the room. Casey. That's great. Meet. What's his plan? Bert. I'm not sure. Cut to interior railway car, Dawn. Close on telephone, beeping. That's where we catch up with the actual minute.
Yes, the script has zero nuance from
Exactly.
Meat.
Yep.
Thankfully,
oh no, for sure.
Spider
Yes, exactly.
is
Spider,
much
yes.
more suspect
Yeah.
of
Again,
this contingency plan.
Again, for those that keep forgetting, the original names of Spider was Meat, and Trash was originally deemed to be called Dee Dee. So yeah. Plus, also, we believe that Bert's last name gets changed to Wilson by Clu Gallagher himself, because the script reads that his name should be Pendon, but he refers to himself as Wilson during the conversation that he has with the guy on the phone after calling the number on the tank. So could just be something that he decided to make up, but again, don't know the answer to that because unfortunately we don't have a Clue to talk to about that. So
no.
All right. So that's going to bring us to our work print comparison. And the work print comparison is where you film your complete movie. And then when you culminate everything that you shot, you have this one long version of the movie, which you then edit down for timing and whatnot to come down to your final product. For example, we are dealing with the final version of minute 84 to 85, whereas in the work print, we are dealing with 104 minutes and 35 seconds to 105 minutes and 36 seconds. So we have 1 extra second. So, except for Glover taking a second longer to actually sit down, that whole entire shot is just like a second longer. The whole entire conversation that he has on the phone is from behind him. So there is no interior shot and all that sort of thing, which I believe is what is stated in the commentary track, where they had to do a they reshot that whole entire thing. And the nice thing about this, seeing it from this angle, you can actually watch that plug slowly start to tilt over and fall as it looks like it has come unsealed and it's slowly falling over, just like William Stout had mentioned and all that. And then the rest of the sequence in the basement of Unita is exactly the same, and then that's where we go. So yeah, so it's kind of neat to actually see it in work. Like, oh my God, look at that! It's just tipping over. I wish the footage were clear enough for me just to get a clip and all that sort of thing, but it's very grainy. It's very VHS, then eventually put onto digital. So, I mean, the quality is not that good to begin with. The coloring's kind of, but I might see if I can just, for purpose of this episode, put out a little clip of that just slowly. And it's just so funny to see and all that sort of thing. All right, so that's going to pretty much wrap us up for this particular minute. Again, we're near the end of the movie, and we're short on details for a lot of these last few minutes. So we're just like, do you have anything you would like to add to this particular minute, Miss Candice?
No, I think I covered it, and the next minute. So whoever's joining you, then you can just
exactly,
it's fine.
Yeah,
we covered it already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'll make that even shorter.
I mean, it is hard to not talk about what's about to happen because it's so. I mean, it's the
yeah, exactly. You can see the finish line, like your steps from the finish line and whatnot. All right. So that being said, thank you, Candice. I've said this before. Again, like I said, I was going to try and get everyone in for one final last minute and all that sort of thing, but as I believe, this more than likely will be Candice's last appearance on this particular show. But don't you fret, those who enjoy listening to me and Candice continue on our off-topic conversations and all that, you're going to get a crap load of that for our next show. Because like we announced the last time, Candice has agreed to be my partner in the next project where we go movies by minute for the Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So that's going to be an exciting thing. Me being a lifelong fan of the movie itself, well, since its release, and Candice, who's just recently come to it and all that sort of thing, who also seems to be a big fan of it as well. So that should be a fun project that we will be getting underway in the next little while. But again, From the bottom of my heart, Candice, I want to thank you for the time and effort that you put into helping me out with this project. I really appreciate it. And also the other silly little things that we do occasionally for Planet Geek Productions and all that sort of thing. Yeah, so thank you once again.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been fun. It's been really fun.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yes, and I look forward to I think doing a full rewatch of the movie now.
Yeah, exactly. I guess we can. You know what? I think I might call you in to do maybe a little watch along sort of thing for maybe sometime in the next month or so, sort of thing, just to do a couple of us sitting around just watching, talking about the movie and each other just going off topic like a regular commentary track sort of thing. So all right. So, also, audience, thank you. We are practically there. Like I said earlier, that finish line is right there. The roller coaster is about to come into its final few dips and turns as it pulls into the station. So, thank you guys for joining us. And once again, thank you, Candice. Thank you, audience. I got nothing else to say except see you next Wednesday.
You've just been listening to a Planet Geek production of Do You Want to Party? A Movies by Minute podcast of the 1985 The Return of the Living Dead. Please be sure to subscribe, download, comment, share, rate, and review. Be sure to follow us on our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Tumblr, or Letterboxd. Search for Planet Geek Productions. X, former Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky, search for Planet Geek Pod. Or send us an email to planetgeekpod@gmail.com. Our closing music is provided by Night Chill. See the show notes for more details. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and farewell, fiends.
Within the red... Oops, sorry, my phone just buzzed something here. Sorry, I apologize. I will edit
That's what
this
we do not
obviously
disturb for.
Exactly. No. I'm expecting a message from my mom. That's why I didn't turn it off.
Yeah.
But it's not her, so I can ignore that. So we will... Actually, let's put that... Yes, I know, do not disturb and all that sort of thing. It normally is, but yeah. No, that's the only reason. I'm expecting a message back from my mom. All right. And this is based on a story and screenplay by John Russo, Rudy Rickey, and Russell Steiner. Okay, prepare yourself, girl, because this is going to be forever, this script.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. As maybe a page and a half long. Interior, wow. If I keep flubbing all the lines, it's going to take forever. Excuse me while I zoom out and then change the page. Because this copy keeps... Something happened with this copy when they were, photocopying this. As the pages went on, the letters kept getting blurrier and blurrier, so I gotta zoom in and then zoom out to make sure I can read it properly. Then again, crappy eyes don't help either. It's also something interesting to see as I'm going through the script portions and the... Forgot the word for comparison. Haha, there's another sequence. All right, there we go. Well, that came out to a little more than I thankfully came out to a lot more than I was expecting. But yeah.
I can always fill time. Don't worry.
Oh, we're gonna be so.
I can find symbolism in the most inane spot.
We are gonna be so doomed when we start doing. We're gonna be so doomed when we start talking about Elvira and all that sort of thing. That's gonna be so much fun. All right, so let's get rid of that. We're running out of time. I'm going to say once more, thank you. Well, we got about a minute to go anyway. So thank you, Candice. I will talk at you later. And like I said, I'll keep in contact. We've also got movie stuff to come up and I've got to edit my Walk the Line watch that I watched today. So
yeah. Okay.
Let's
go so you can...
It's a big undertaking watching a movie every single day of the year.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
So far, so good. Talk to you later,
Stop
Candice.
recording and save.
I am stopping recording. This is me going to
Bye.
record. I'm going to talk until this thing cuts out and all that. All right. Good night,
See
Miss
ya.
Candice. Thanks again. Hope you feel better.